Jim Ryan of Sony is quickly becoming more hated by me than snake oil salesman Phil Spencer, and we need to talk about why. Nintendo just pissed off most of the Smash Brothers community with an announcement about a tournament, and Doom Eternal for the Nintendo Switch gets some really bad news that I'm not happy about. Yep, 3 negative stories today, people. Life ain't all sunshine and rainbows. What's going on, guys? I'm RGT85. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to like the video. But without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the world of video games. So the lead up to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X had very different sorts of paths when it was about the games coming to the system. Now, when you look at the Xbox Series X, Phil Spencer came out and said pretty much from the start that yes, games would be designed with the Xbox Series X in mind, but they would also be able to work on the Xbox One. They weren't going to abandon their player base. So when it comes to first-party titles, at least for the first few years, the games that you have on the Xbox Series X would also be available on the Xbox One. Now, this sort of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, myself included. I didn't really like it at first because I like generational stuff. I like to see that generational leap, and we haven't really seen in video games where an idea like that has really panned out. But at the end of the day, you have to respect that Phil Spencer came out and said that and gave you a clear vision of what to expect with the Xbox Series X. On the PlayStation 5 side of things, Jim Ryan was saying a completely different tune. He seemed to be saying all the things that people really wanted to hear. You were only going to get some of these experiences on the PlayStation 5. These games were, of course, powered by the PlayStation 5 and only available on the PlayStation 5. And then we sort of learned that no, that wasn't really the case. When we were introduced to the PlayStation 5, we of course saw Spider-Man Miles Morales, and everyone thought that that game was going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive, but no, it's also coming to the PlayStation 4. Horizon Forbidden West was another game that you saw and you were like, wow, this is going to be a really great PlayStation 5 exclusive game, but no, it's also coming to the PlayStation 4. So the narrative has definitely shifted quite a few times when it comes to Jim Ryan. Well, recently he did an interview, and now the narrative is shifting even more. When speaking about the PlayStation 5, he said the following: "History will tell you that in its second or third year that the developers really hit their stride. Developers typically need a little bit more of time to familiarize themselves with the hardware. But it's probably going to be 2022 that you're going to see some wonderful things in the same way that it was for 2015 or 2016 for the previous generation, when the generation-defining games start to be published." But I thought we believed in console generations. I thought that we were seeing things that could only be done on the PlayStation 5. And 2022? Well, there's a game coming out in 2021 that a lot of people were hoping was going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive title, meaning that there would be no sort of PlayStation 4 version of the game holding it back, and that is of course the upcoming God of War game. So pretty much to me, it seems like you're saying that God of War, the sequel to the PlayStation 4 game, will also be available on the PlayStation 4 alongside of the PlayStation 5. And it's like, when did we sort of shift this thought training with the PlayStation 5? Or did we ever shift this thought training with it? To me, it's sort of a bait and switch thing. It's almost like Jim Ryan wanted to say all the things that people wanted to hear, but didn't necessarily believe what he was saying, because we're starting to see that a lot of the things he had said about the PlayStation 5 as far as generational stuff is concerned is just not true. At least Phil Spencer came out and said, yes, this is what we're doing with the Xbox Series X. You could like it, you could dislike it, but that's just the way it is. Jim Ryan really said a whole different sort of song and dance with this, and honestly, I think it's pretty scummy, because now you have to consider every game that is announced for the PlayStation 5 as potentially getting a PlayStation 4 version as well. And the only way to find out things like this isn't during the trailer announcements or anything like that. It's after the fact. We didn't learn about a PS4 version of Spider-Man Miles Morales until much closer to the launch of the actual game, and I just don't like things like this. Word is bond in my world. If you break your word, you're breaking your promise, and you don't really have much trust with me. And Jim Ryan just keeps saying one thing on a grand stage, but then in interviews, he's saying a completely different song and dance with the PlayStation 5. So it's just a weird situation. It's a situation that I don't like, and now Jim Ryan is like on the bottom of my totem pole for people, because you can't believe a single thing he says anymore, and that's not really a good thing. Next up, a large Super Smash Bros. Melee tournament has just been shut down by Nintendo, and wow, there's a lot of people mad about this. Now, you guys know I'm a very casual Smash Bros. Player. I don't have any Smash Melee footage to show you guys, so we're just gonna have Smash Ultimate while we're talking about what the situation is, so please don't chastise me in the comments. But obviously, Super Smash Bros. Melee on the GameCube was a very popular game. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of tournaments, there's a lot of money involved in these tournaments when it comes to Super Smash Bros. Melee. People really love this game, and of course, with COVID-19, a lot of situations, a lot of tournaments weren't able to happen this year because of the fact that, well, you can't really put a bunch of people in the same room together breathing on each other playing a video game. So a company called The Big House was doing a Super Smash Bros. Melee competition that was scheduled to take place between December 4th and December 6th. Obviously, there would be some prizes involved in it as well. If you're a competitive video game player, you've obviously had a very hard year this year because there hasn't been tournaments like that. So it was sort of a light at the end of the tunnel when it came to the Smash Brothers community, but Nintendo swooped in and pretty much shut the whole thing down and gave the following statement to Polygon. Nintendo appreciates the love and dedication the fighting community has for the Super Smash Bros. Series. We have partnered with numerous Super Smash Bros. Tournaments in the past and have hosted our own online and offline tournaments for the game, and we plan to continue to support that in the future. Unfortunately, the upcoming Big House tournament announced plans to host an online tournament for Super Smash Bros. Melee that requires the use of illegally copied versions of the game in conjunction with a mod called Slippy during their online event. Nintendo therefore contacted the tournament organizers to ask them to stop. They refused, leaving Nintendo no choice but to step in to protect its intellectual property and brands. Nintendo cannot condone or allow piracy of its intellectual property. Now, just like every situation where Nintendo sticks their nose into something involving their intellectual property, there are two different sides of the coin here. There is the side of the coin where it is the law, and yes, by law, Nintendo is well within their rights to do something like this to protect their intellectual property. But then there's the whole morality situation. Is this really a battle worth fighting? And once again, like a lot of these Nintendo situations, I don't really see the point in shutting down this online tournament. You can't buy Super Smash Bros. Melee right now to a situation where it puts money in Nintendo's pocket, period, point blank. Nintendo might be sort of thinking, well, just play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but there's different characters in that. There's different sorts of moves in that game, and the whole sort of AI is completely different. There's different strategies for different fighting games. You can't really compare Street Fighter 2 to Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers, because things have been changed. Sure, at the core, the things sort of remain the same, but there's a lot of differentiating things between Super Smash Bros. Melee and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. You can never play Super Smash Bros. Melee online legally because of the fact that it released on the GameCube, and the GameCube had a very weak online infrastructure that was only used for games like Phantasy Star Online. It was obviously not a online compatible system when it came to most of the games. So it's like, I don't get this. I don't get shutting down this tournament, especially considering the fact that I'm sure Big House would have done a thing where it was just all done locally and people came into this tournament and fought it out if the world was normal, but the world is not normal, so you kind of have to adjust to things. Now, on the other side of the coin, a lot of Smash players and a lot of Smash fans are like, I'm never supporting Nintendo again, they ruined my life. And it's like, okay, calm down. Remember the whole Pokemon Sword and Shield controversy with the Pokedex? Like let's just remain calm here. Does the situation suck? Yes. Can you be angry at Nintendo about the situation? Of course you can. You are well within your right to do that. But to act like you're gonna boycott stuff, like, come on, you're gonna have your little O face going on in the thumbnail whenever they announce the next Smash Brothers character because you're so excited. Like, let's just all reel it in a bit. Is Nintendo within their legal right to do this? Yes. Is it morally correct? Probably not. But at the end of the day, an unfortunately is what it is. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below, though, because I'm sure there will be very differentiating opinions. And finally, Doom Eternal released earlier this year on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and of course the PC, and a Nintendo Switch version was in development, and then, well, things got very quiet. It initially seemed like Doom Eternal was going to come out day in, day with the other versions of the game, and then it didn't, and then there was silence, and then there was more silence. Now, of course, Panic Button is the company working on this game, and Panic Button has done some really great games on the Nintendo Switch, like, well, Doom 2016, which of course released in 2017. But as time has gone on, people have been wondering, well, what is up with Doom Eternal? Is there something going on with this game more so than meets the eye? We've gotten a few updates here and there from Panic Button themselves saying that everything is going along smoothly, but it's like, at some point in time, you have to give an actual update on this game. Well, we got an actual update on this game, and it's not what you were expecting. So yesterday, GameStop started sending sending out calls to people saying that Doom Eternal for the Nintendo Switch with their pre-order has been canceled, the standard version and the collector's version of the game as well. And people were like, well, what's up with this? Is the game actually canceled now? Why hasn't Bethesda or Panic Button said anything about this? Initially, Bethesda dodged the question for a while until they finally confirmed what is going on with Doom Eternal on the Nintendo Switch. The game is technically canceled as far as a physical version of the game is concerned, but the game will still be coming out digitally. While Doom Eternal is 100% on track for an imminent digital-only release on the Nintendo Switch, the absence of physical release at retail resulted in canceled pre-orders. Affected customers will receive full refunds and should contact their preferred retailer for more information. And personally, I don't like this one bit, really, because it really shows you this sort of bait and switch mentality that we just talked about with Jim Ryan and the PlayStation 5. Did you just discover that you were going to do this? Did you just realize, hey, you know what, we're going to do a digital-only version for Doom Eternal on the Nintendo Switch? No, you have known this for quite a while now. And the fact that you, Bethesda, did not come out and talk about this, but you literally forced retailers such as GameStop to be the one to break this information that the physical version of the game has been canceled, it's just absolutely disgusting to me. If you would have came out and said, you know, this is what's going on, we're not going to do a physical version, yes, people would have been upset. Yes, people would have been really angry about this, but over time, people would have accepted this. Now doing this at sort of the last second, if you say an imminent digital only release is coming, I'm going to assume that this game will probably release in 2020 for the Nintendo Switch, because you really haven't given any sort of indication otherwise. But to do it at the last second, pull the rug out from consumers, is just a crappy tactic. What is with companies pretty much just doing bait and switches nowadays, saying one thing and then doing another thing, or allowing other people to answer the questions that they are the companies that should be answering these questions? It's a very bizarre situation. We still haven't seen a single screenshot or a single video of the game Doom Eternal running on the Nintendo Switch. I'm sure it's going to be a fine version of the game, but I just don't like things like this. To pull the rug out from people at the very last second is absolutely disgusting, and it's just something that needs to be talked about, and something that needs to be called out, because more and more of these companies are going to do things like this if we allow them to without voicing our opinions on it. Alright, so that is everything that is happening in the world of video games, at least the negative side of things, because I don't know, I didn't really find anything positive to talk about today. It's okay to be negative as long as it's rooted in reality, and I think all three of these stories are rooted in reality. So let me know in the comments section down below how you feel about all this. Jim Ryan, is he the new snake oil salesman, or does Philly Spencer still take the cake with that? I gotta give it to Jim Ryan, man. Like, this dude, I really don't like this dude. When word is bond and you're not keeping your word. Super Smash Bros. Melee, is it the greatest fighting game ever? It seems like it to a lot of people. Should Nintendo have shut down this tournament? Let me know in the comments. And of course, Doom Eternal, does this sort of sway your decision if you've been waiting for the Nintendo Switch version of the game? Because now I'm just about to download the game on Game Pass and just call it a day, because there's no physical version of the game. I can't trade it in if I don't like it. I can't sell it to someone, so I don't know. It's just a very weird situation. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to check out other videos on the channel. We got a lot of videos coming up next week as well. We are getting into the holiday season, and there's lots of stuff to talk about. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.